Does it feel like no matter how long you walk your dog or how far you walk them, they can't seem to settle afterwards? Maybe you come back and they're in even more of a chaotic state than when you even left, pacing around, pestering you for attention and interaction, barking nonstop, or just being able to switch off and sleep. This has become quite a common but also frustrating issue for a lot of owners to deal with. So, today I'm going to walk you through 5 common reasons that dogs actually struggle to settle after walks and what you can do to help them. But before we get into the good stuff, let me introduce myself. I'm Junior, behaviour nerd, and founder of Paws of Wisdom, where I help burned out and overwhelmed owners of chaotic and over the top dogs break free from cycles of chaos, conflict, and finally get back onto the same page so they can start living life again. Okay, let's get back to it. Let's start with the first reason. The walk itself is just too stimulating for your dog. Walks are naturally stimulating for dogs, and that's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with stimulation. The problem, however, is when walks are constantly stimulating, that they become overstimulating. Think about how many things your dog has to process on a walk: movement, sounds, sights, other dogs, children, people, traffic, bikes. For many dogs, each one of these causes a spike in arousal or a spike in frustration or a spike in stress. They cause a spike in the unholy trinity. And then instead of being an activity that calms your dog down, walks start becoming too stimulating and they start losing their benefit. Which means when we get back home, that walk has had no benefit at all, and that level of stimulation is still sky high. They may have a tired body, but if the system is still running at 100 miles an hour, then it's incredibly hard to shut off. Reason number 2, dogs get trapped in a state of chaos and dysregulation. Now, this carries on from the first reason. If walks are continuously chaotic and overstimulating for your dog, then chances are, once they leave the house, that chaos kicks in. They're already on edge, they're scanning the environment, they're in a state of anticipation, they're over alert, they're hyper vigilant. Their internal system is stuck in the state of something is going to happen. A lot of dogs get stuck in this loop without the ability to bring themselves back down. They end up having this walk where they don't make the most of their opportunities to sniff, to decompress, to relax and enjoy their environment. And then they get back home and they can't settle, they can't shut off. And then this loops around again and again and again. And the more this happens, the more the Unholy Trinity starts to run the show. And when the Unholy Trinity runs the show, chaos and bad behavior tend to follow. This is why you might see frantic behavior, more reactivity, more impulsiveness on walks. And that's the exact same energy that your dog brings back home. So, third reason is the lack of a wind down routine. As mentioned, walks naturally elevate the Unholy Trinity, so the stress levels, arousal, frustration, or even all three. And as mentioned, that's natural. But the problem happens when a dog can't bring those levels back down. After walks, many owners come through the door, they unclip their dog leash, and they just let them figure it out, hoping that their dog chooses the most obvious thing to do, which would be to nap. But when that system is still really high, the last thing a dog can really do is settle down and shut off. So they generally tend to choose chaos. They start pacing, they start dropping toys at your feet, barking at every little sound, or just looking for ways to cope with this level of stimulation, which usually is in ways that we don't want. When there's no decompression period or no wind down period after a walk or just after activity in general, dogs tend to stay at a heightened state. And what's even worse is that that state can stick around for a few hours if it's not regulated or managed properly. So, reason number 4, walks are the only exercise that dogs get. For the majority of dogs, going on a walk is the only form of exercise that they get during the day. And for many dogs, this isn't as problematic. But there are still many dogs out there where walks cause more damage than good. As mentioned previously, when walks become too chaotic, too overstimulating, they start losing their actual benefit. Instead of being able to relax into a walk and enjoy their walk, taking the opportunities for sniffing and decompression, dogs end up reacting to every single little thing. They end up pulling on their leash. They end up anticipating attention and engagement from other people, from dogs, scanning the environment, staying in a state of hypervigilance, basically walking in a state of stress and anticipation. Now, for these dogs, if they are reliant on these walks as a form of exercise, and it's actually not giving them any benefit at all, then it's safe to say that these walks aren't actually providing them with any exercise or outlets in their daily routine. And finally, reason number 5, lack of a safe haven. Now, this one is often overlooked. A lot of dogs generally don't have somewhere that they can shut off and actually sleep.
Oh, but Junior, my dog has a bed in the living room. Oh, but my dog happily will nap on the sofa.
And both of these are absolutely fine, but they aren't what I'd consider as safe havens. Safe havens are generally areas away from chaos, from noise, from foot traffic, from disturbances. They're places that a dog can actually learn to shut off. Dogs might be able to take a nap on the sofa, or they might be able to take a nap in the living room. But how many of them actually manage to sleep in these areas? Like, if your dog is napping next to you on the sofa and you get up to go and do something, how many times do they end up waking up? When your dog is napping in the living room and they hear a sound outside, how many times they end up startling and reacting to it? Dogs should be getting about 16 to 18 hours of sleep a day. And one of the biggest reasons a lot of dogs struggle to get that is the environment, the actual lack of a safe haven. Consider a safe haven somewhere a dog can retreat to when things get a bit overwhelming or when they get tired. I usually recommend these are set up in quiet areas of the house, in separate rooms from the chaos, as to say. Places with little distraction, disruption, noises, and just somewhere other people, children, and pets won't disturb them. Now that we've covered a few common reasons, it would be unfair to just leave you at that point. So let's touch on what you can actually do to help your dog settle more easily after walks. These are 5 simple changes that you can make that have a huge difference. So, first things first, lower the stimulation on the walk. If walks are too stimulating for your dog, lower the stimulation. This could mean stop walking them through town centres, busy streets, past schools, and sub that out for actual calmer walks where there's not much going on. This might mean you change the time of when you walk your dog to a more off-peak time when there's less people and less triggers around. This could even mean stopping them from saying hi to every single person and every single dog on the walk. If your dog thinks going on these walks is a social experience, then that's what they're going to anticipate. They're going to anticipate being able to say hi to everyone and everything. Second thing you can do, stop walking your dog for a period of time. A lot of people aren't a big fan of this, but if you really think about it, if your dog is trapped in a cycle of chaos and overstimulation and the unholy trinity is running the system, then one of the best things you can do is remove them from that environment. You remove them from the stress, you remove them from their triggers, you remove them from the chaos. You might have heard the term, you can't heal in the same environment, that makes you sick. This is the same thing. By momentarily taking a pause on our walks, no pun intended, we can remove our dogs from those toxic environments and put them into a more sterile environment where they can reset and rebuild regulation. This is exactly what I do with owners I work with in my detox protocol. We stop walks and we fulfill needs in other ways for a brief moment of time. And trust me, when you pull your dog out from stress, when you pull them out from chaos and you meet their needs in other ways, you'll be surprised at how much you can change them. This brings me on to number 3, meet their needs in other ways. Walks aren't the only type of exercise for dogs. They're just the most common. If you stop walking your dog momentarily or you reduce the amount that you're walking them to reduce the amount of stimulation, always remember you can meet their needs in other ways. You can use a variety of different outlets to actually meet their needs. Activities such as tug, flirt pole, retrieval exercises, even simple hand targeting, setting up little agility courses, providing your dog with an actual outlet can do wonders at relieving tension and frustration, providing joy, and burning energy that walks just can't do. And this kind of ties into number 4, which is pair walks with other activities. Instead of walking your dog the same chaotic route where they can rehearse the same chaotic behaviors, where they stay in that state of stress and anticipation, instead of doing that every day for an hour, mix it up a bit. Maybe provide an outlet before you start. 10-15 minutes of tug, 10-15 minutes of flirt pole, 10-15 minutes of just getting that energy out of the system, relieving that tension and frustration before you even think about going on a walk. That will make your walk 10 times easier by dropping that energy level, by dropping that frustration level. Some dogs might benefit more from activities such as scent work, something that's not going to rile them up too much, but instead brings their mental energy down. There are so many different things you can do to actually help your dog in these scenarios. And number 5, build a wind down routine. Give your dog a wind down routine. A wind down routine helps your dog transition from chaos to being able to relax. The same way that when we finish work, we have a wind down routine that switches us from work mode to home mode. This could be something like scatter feeding, scent work, giving them a chew, giving them a Kong, giving them a massage that actually allows them to relax a little bit once they've got in. A wind down routine is anything that helps them transition from an 8 down to a 3. And then just a little bonus, number 6, help make settling easy for your dog. You can reduce the overall stimulation on your dog's walks. You can give them an outlet for their exercise. You can provide them with a wind down routine. But you might find that settling down is still an impossible task. Many dogs, when even given the tools to sleep, still resist settling down and sleeping. It feels alien to them. They're used to pacing, they're used to the chaos, they're used to the arousal. Imagine them like overtired toddlers throwing temper tantrums. We have to make settling easier so it can go from a routine to becoming a habit. This means creating a safe haven somewhere in the house that allows them to actually switch off, somewhere that's away from the noise, that's away from disturbances, that's in a quiet area. And for a lot of dogs, this is also going to mean we have to enforce rest for a while. This means being consistent, making rest the boundary. Every time after your wind down routine, you go to your safe haven. And then after a while, dogs start to learn that after I've gone on my walk, I have a wind down routine. And after that wind down routine, there's absolutely nothing to do but sleep. This is how we take dogs from routine to habit to a way of life. Honestly, one of the best feelings is the first time your dog decides to take themselves to their safe haven on their own accord. It is just chef's kiss. So that wraps up today's video. If you do have a dog that is struggling to settle after walks, give some of these a try. Let me know how they go in the comments. Trust me, lowering stimulation, pairing walks with other activities, providing a wind down routine, and making rest a priority can completely change how your dog feels when they're at home. And if you want more information on lowering stress, regulation, meeting your dog's needs, resetting your dog's system, and just having calmer days with your dog, check out the Paws of Wisdom Regulators community. I'll pop the link down in the description somewhere. It's a free community for overwhelmed and burned out owners that focuses on educating about the power of regulation, meeting needs, the dangers of stress and the Unholy Trinity, creating better routines, and building the foundations that you can actually start to work upon. In there, you'll also find the Regulators Resource Vault, which has resources on regulation, on stress, on reactivity, on sleep, on decompression. You'll find a community of other owners who are also dealing with over-the-top and chaotic dogs. And you'll also find the official Paws of Wisdom Detox protocol, which walks you through exactly how to lower the Unholy Trinity and boost the Holy Trinity. Reset your dog's baseline, rebuild regulation, and just reduce the daily chaos that you have with your dog. And if you do want a bit more personalized guidance, check out the Regulators Academy, which is a mini coaching program where I teach owners how to build regulation first systems that create that lasting change. So thanks for watching. If this has helped you understand your dog even just a little bit better, then hit the like button so other owners who are experiencing the same can learn more too. But also let me know in the comments what you're struggling with or what are the topics you want to hear about next. That's it from me. Until next time.